These are the 7 levels of human strength explained. And today, we're gonna find out which level you fit into.
Level 1, the starting point.
AKA deconditioned. Now these are everyday untrained people working cubicle jobs who have sciatica and back pain and shit, or just complete beginners in the gym that have barely stepped foot through the door. If you're in the level 1 category, doing everyday basic life movements are pretty easy, like bending down to take a dump or walking around, but physically demanding tasks like carrying heavy groceries, moving furniture, picking heavy odd-shaped objects off the ground, those can be pretty damn challenging. Throughout this video, we're gonna be using strength to body weight ratios frequently because in general, it's a pretty good way to measure relative strength. And we're gonna be using an 180-pound guy as our example across the board in this video. So the average person in level 1 will be able to squat less than 75% of their own body weight. So for an 180-pound guy, they'd be squatting less than 135 pounds. They'll realistically bench less than 50% of their body weight, so 90 pounds or less, and they'll be deadlifting less than body weight, so less than 180. So if you meet those criteria for your own body weight, you're in level 1, and that's okay. Luckily, if you find yourself in strength level 1, I have great news for you. You'll typically get insane strength and muscle increases in your first 1 to 6 months of consistent training, and your body's responding to a brand new stimuli, and this is what we like to call newbie gains. You can take advantage of newbie gains until you get to level 2.
Level 2, amateur strength.
AKA gym NPCs. Dude, I remember the amateur stage so well. I was at like the tail end of high school. I'd be waking up with like 3 hours of sleep, going straight to the gym with no water, doing a terrible goddamn workout, immediately coming home and watching Arnold compilations and Athlean X and like how to get abs in 10 minutes. You're at the most fun portion of your journey. The rest of it is just body dysmorphia and self-hatred. Your typical commercial gym will have a lot of these people roaming around. You'll usually see them in like Nike dry fit attire. You know, regular gym goers, the people you see at any random LA Fitness, Planet Fitness. A lot of people never leave this phase because they get kind of stuck in their ways and they never improve their programming, their nutrition, their hydration, and they kind of just stay plateaued at this like baseline level of strength. But if you're locked in, bro, and you're doing the right shit, you're gonna breeze past level 2 so quickly. People with level 2 strength will typically have the following strength ratios that I'm gonna put up on the board. So based on these ratios, an 180-pound guy in level 2 should be able to squat between 135 and 225, bench press between 90 and 135, and deadlift between 180 pounds and 270 pounds. Now, realistically, the average trainee can achieve these ratios pretty easily, but the next level requires more.
Level 3, the respectable lifter.
Have you ever seen a dude in the gym that is kind of strong, but not insanely strong? That's what we call a respectable lifter. Respectable lifters may not turn your head with the amount of weight that they're lifting, but they clearly got some kind of results, you know? Respectable strength requires you to be stronger than the average person, but not up there with the elites by any capacity. I remember after I deadlifted 315 for the first time, I felt like I was in this stage, and I started coming into the gym with like stringers that came down to like my ass. I'd wear like a backwards hat, and I would like walk around like I had Final Boss music playing behind me. Meanwhile, I was like 180 pounds soaking wet, and like a fart could have knocked my ass over. But learn from my mistakes. So I'm gonna put the level 3 strength ratios up here for you. So using our 180-pound dude example, someone with level 3 respectable strength will have a squat between 225 and 360 pounds, a bench press between 135 and 225 pounds, and a deadlift between 315 and 405 pounds. Now, getting to level 3 is 100% possible. Even if you have like D-tier genetics and a diet that consists of like Hershey Kisses and almonds, like you're gonna get there at some point. It might take you a couple years for some of you. It might take you 1 year for some of you, maybe 6 months for the genetically endowed. But level 4, shit gets weird. Level 4, you are not gonna get there without some seriously structured programming and an actual will to get better.
Level 4, strong, aka the upper limit of the average man.
Oh, now we're getting into some cool shit, guys. This is where the video takes a leap up from, okay, this guy's strong for being at a commercial gym, to I have not really seen that many plates on a barbell before. Maybe I should just quit. Well, you may see a bunch of level 1s, level 2s, and level 3s waddling around the gym. The odds of seeing a level 4 in the wild is actually a lot lower than you'd think. These guys will usually walk into the gym in some all black outfit with some big stupid ass jug of water. you know, chalk all over their head, big ass headphones on, probably listening to Alice in Chains or something. If you see a level 4 in the gym, they're most likely gonna be able to do multiple reps of 225 on bench, you know, squatting well between mid 300s to the mid 400s, and possibly deadlifting close to 500 pounds. The exact level 4 strength ratios we're gonna use, I'm gonna leave right here. So a level 4 lifter weighing around 180 pounds will be able to squat between 360 and 450 pounds, bench between 225 pounds and 315, and deadlift between 405 pounds and 540 pounds. A well-known example who would fit into the level 4 lifter category would be the YouTuber Jesse James West. Now this guy's a very popular YouTuber, has an insane physique, and at his powerlifting meet at the body weight of 196 pounds, he squatted 496 pounds, benched 347, and deadlifted 474 pounds. I am another example of a level 4 lifter. Now I've been lifting for 7 years. You probably can't tell by the lighting. I'm actually enormous. But at a body weight of 185 pounds, I hit a squat PR of 505 pounds. I have a poverty bench, so I hit 265. And the most I ever deadlifted was 510 pounds. Now I know what you're thinking, like, Eli, no way. If you're making this video, you'd probably be level 7. You're like the strongest guy on the face of the earth. I mean, look at the size of your traps and your glutes. I think level 4 should be the level of strength most of you guys aspire to get to, because A, it's extremely impressive. B, it's actually very hard to do, even though it sounds possible. And C, it's proof that you have really dedicated yourself to something and come further than 99.999% of the world will ever get to. Now, before we move on to the absolutely insane strength level 5, I think it's important to give you guys an example of what the upper limit of level 4 strength would be. We got to look at the natural strength athlete Will Tennyson, who had a body weight of 198, squatted 496, benched 352 pounds, and deadlifted 530 pounds, which are absolutely insane strength to body weight ratios. But what if I told you that someone as strong as one of these guys would look like a complete noob next to a level 5 lifter?
Level 5, elite strength.
Now, you might think you have, but you have probably never seen a level 5 lifter at your gym before. And that's because they're probably too busy raiding all the protein at Costco and setting powerlifting records every other day. These are the guys you see on social media benching 315 for 10 after you just uploaded your first PR of 225, and they make you quit the gym and like question everything you've been doing and why you suck and all that shit. Inhuman levels of strength. But the thing that kind of sucks about level 5 is we've now reached a level of strength that most lifelong lifters will never reach, because it's just above and beyond what the average body can handle. This is where genetics really start separating people. If you're in level 5, congratulations. Frankly, I'm kind of jealous. Douchebag, asshole. A level 5, 180 pound lifter will squat between 450 pounds and 585 pounds, will bench between 315 and 450 pounds, and deadlift between 495 pounds and 675 pounds. I know. Just thinking about those numbers pisses me off because I'm never gonna hit those. But a well-known example of a level 5 lifter that you might not actually believe would make this cut is Jeff Nippard. At his powerlifting competition in Canada in 2015, he squatted 446 pounds, benched 352 pounds, and deadlifted 454 pounds. But he weighed 154 pounds, bro. Not only are those numbers insane, but they're especially insane when you realize that an 154-pound guy did that. And he's natural. That's crazy. Lane Norton would be another great example of a level 5 elite lifter who at the body weight of 226 pounds, squatted 667, benched 364, and deadlifted 728 pounds. But as we move towards the top of level 5, we get a guy like Johnny Candido. Johnny, on the off chance you're watching this, I'm sorry for putting you in level 5, but I gotta be consistent with my placements, bro. Just don't kill me, all right? This guy is a prime example of the upper limit of the elite lifter, and at a body weight of 181 pounds, mind you, that's kind of what I weigh. He squatted 601, benched 375, and deadlifted 700 pounds. Now, although these guys are disturbingly strong and have an insane strength to body weight ratio, we're getting to the point in the video where strength to body weight ratios don't mean everything. I'm not gonna bore you with all the data because frankly, I like good retention. Sorry, I'm a capitalist at the end of the day. Absolute strength will typically increase as body weight increases due to bone structure, muscle mass, and better leverages. But as body weight goes up, the multiplier of body weight a person can lift typically goes down. That's why you'll see the best of the best 160-pound lifters sometimes squatting all the way up to 500 pounds, right? But you won't see a 400-pound squat specialist squat 1,600 pounds. That's never been done ever. Now, between levels 1 through 5, we have seen the insane levels of strength that a human being can achieve, but I don't think you're prepared for levels 6 and 7. In fact, I'm not even prepared to explain it to you because it doesn't make much sense to me either. I've lifted a lot of weight in my lifetime, but the amount of weights and plates that these dudes have on the bar is enough to warp space and time altogether. So let's move on to level 6.
Level 6, earth-shattering strength.
We are now entering a territory that 99.999999999% of people could never even dream of hitting. Level 5 was competitive power lifters and lifters teetering on the impossible. Level 6 is the impossible. I'm talking crazy ass strength. World record holders. The odds of you being a level 6 lifter are so low that if 20 million people watch this video, there's a decent chance that not one viewer would be a level 6 lifter. Although we are gonna move away from the category of strength to body weight ratios, I couldn't begin level 6 without mentioning this one dude. Panagiotis Taranidis. At a body weight of 162 pounds, he squatted 611 pounds, which is almost 4 times his body weight, benched 413 pounds, which is a 2.5 body weight ratio. And he deadlifted 639 pounds, which is 4 times his goddamn body weight. But somehow, this dude is not the strongest guy we're gonna talk about. Larry fucking Wheels. You've heard the name, you've seen the videos. This dude is so strong that everyone around him seems to get hurt trying to match his strength. And the funny thing is, nobody ever actually matches it. They just end up tearing their pecs or like dropping loaded barbells on their chest and like shitting out their sternums. Larry Wheels not only has the physique of an elite bodybuilder, but the strength of an absolutely world-class powerlifter. This guy has a max bench press of 675 pounds. That's like me hitting my 225 PR and then duct taping another barbell with 225 on top of it, and then duct taping another barbell with 225 on top of it onto the one that's on top of the initial 225. He also squatted 900 plus pounds. He deadlifted 700 pounds for 10 reps. And to top it all off, the guy deadlifted a whopping 922 pounds. Now these guys were built to dominate in the gym, but then there's dudes like Brian Shaw who are here to dominate the planet. At 6'8" and well over 400 pounds, this dude was not just hitting crazy lifts in the gym. I mean, he was. He squatted 904 pounds, deadlifted 1,000 pounds, and was able to bench 200-pound dumbbells in each hand. But he was also pulling semi-trucks. He had a world record in the keg toss. He was able to pick up Atlas stones that weighed as much as motorcycles. And not to mention, he won the world's strongest man numerous times. Brian Shaw wasn't the best at one thing, but he was terrifyingly good at almost everything. But as unbelievable as Brian Shaw was, there was one man who wanted to do something that no human being had ever done before. Eddie the Beast Hall, the first man to ever deadlift 500 kilograms. For my other American brothers, that's 1,102 solid ass metal pounds. Before Eddie Hall, nobody had ever lifted that much weight off the floor. In fact, nobody even thought it was possible to do that at the time. And then this dude walked up to the bar, he picked that shit up, he locked it out, and it almost killed him. The lift was so violent that the blood vessels burst in his eyes. He collapsed moments later and said he had temporary vision loss. And for a brief split second of time, humanity thought that peak human strength had been achieved. But if there's one common theme about the world, about humanity, eventually we evolve. And every couple of years, somebody will look at these unbreakable records and just decide to beat them. The 1 in a billion strength athlete.
Level 7, the absolute human limit.
If I were to tell you somebody deadlifted 783 pounds, would you believe me? Would you think that sounds crazy? It's kind of believable based on the other shit I've been talking about. But what if I told you somebody benched 783 pounds? How do you take in that kind of information? Let me introduce you to Julius Maddox, who still holds the title for the world record raw bench press. I mean, just look at this video. The guy's got every plate possible on this barbell, and he just presses it up like it's nothing. And that's just an entry-level example. Now you may wonder how the absolute behemoth Eddie Hall, who deadlifted 500 kilograms, didn't make it to level 7. Well, remember how I said level 7s are the guys that break the unbeatable records? Let me introduce you to Hafthor Julius Bjornsson. He deadlifted 510 kilograms, 1,124 pounds, beating Eddie Hall's previous world record by 22 pounds. The record that nobody thought would ever be beaten. This is currently the heaviest deadlift ever performed. It has not been beaten. Hafthor Julius Bjornsson is the human limit of level 7 strength. Or is he? As you've been watching, you might have been paying attention to the playback bar, and you might notice there's still a little bit of time left in this video. And no, it is not a drawn out outro, although I am very prone to those. I had to leave room for one more thing, because despite everything we've seen between 800-pound squats and 900-pound deadlifts, there is still one person on this planet who decided it was time to destroy the leaderboards of strength altogether. The final boss of human strength. Colton, the limit breaker Engelbrecht. And trust me, this guy lives up to his name. Colton is a 25-year-old powerlifter from South Africa who has done something the world didn't think it would ever see. At roughly 270 pounds, he squatted 1,003 pounds, benched 611 pounds, and deadlifted 1,085 pounds. And outside of competition, he has deadlifted 520 kilograms, which is 22 pounds over Hafthor's world record. And he also deadlifted Eddie Hall's world record twice in a row. He's also able to somehow curl over 225 pounds and shoulder press over 400 pounds, all with flawless, impeccable technique. At this current point in time, this is the human limit of strength. But who knows? One of you guys watching might be the next guy to beat this record. Then I'll have to remake this video with a level 8.